Hello again everyone and welcome back to Skyblock News. I'm your host Derailious, and today we're back on the Alpha Network going over the rest of the Greenhouse update with a bunch of new items, features, and more. Before we begin though, make sure to like and subscribe, use code RAIL on the Hypixel store for 5% off your order, and without any further ado, let's get started. Starting off today, I wanted to do a bit of a deep dive into how farming tools now work under the new system. Which first, I want to preface this by saying, if you currently have farming tools, they will be converted into the new system, and all of your counter progress will be converted into levels, so keep that in mind. Going over the tools themselves, in order to pick them up, you will need to go to the Sky Mart. You're not able to craft the base tiers anymore, and these will start at level 1. Now, whenever you get a farming tool, it will start off really bad, and you'll have to actively farm in order to level it. When you level this up, it will get stronger with time, and at level 15 and at level 30, you will need to upgrade it. Upgrading it works basically the same way it does on main right now. When you increase the rarity, you're just putting in a bunch of resources, and boom, you have a higher tier item. This will allow you to get all the way to level 40. In order to increase your level cap, you will need overclockers. Overclockers can be found doing various activities throughout the garden. Visitors, Jacob's contests, crops, greenhouse, and pests. When you get an Overclocker 3000, you will be able to apply it to any farming tool and get +1 level cap. So you can do that up to 10 times, and you can get a level 50 farming tool. That is how you max them out, by getting these Overclockers and by upgrading the tools themselves. Someone was nice enough to actually show me the Overclocker and hand one to me, so here it is. You can permanently increase the maximum level of a farming tool by +1, and it can be applied up to 10 times. It's also combinable in an anvil. You will need a ton of these, but you get them through multiple different methods of farming or doing whatever else, so it's not really the biggest deal in the world. Something else I also saw discussed is the new Helianths armor and whether it actually is able to keep the skins from Fermento, because it is an upgrade from Fermento. And the answer is yes. As you can see, I have my Helianths helmet, and it does keep the skin that I had previously. I just upgraded it, didn't have to do anything else, so don't fret about that. So I wanted to provide you a better update in terms of how many mutations have been found, but the answer is, even after a day, only 14 of the 40 total mutations have actually been found. This is a document made by IC22487. He's a great guy. He's always been helping out on this stuff in the community and trying to get this information compiled. There's also a section of the official Hunters Discord where you're able to send in info. I will have both of these linked down below. But basically, you can see all of the stuff that's currently been found by the community, as well as how to theoretically make some of the other items in terms of what growth surface to put them on. But we don't have a lot of these, I'm going to be honest with you. Quite a few are still missing, as you can see. But they do go to a pretty high level when you eventually get up to stuff like the God Seed, which is a 3x3 mutation, which looks absolutely ridiculous and has tons of buffs here, as you can see. Look at that. 30% increased yield, 100% retaining water, increases farming XP by 30%, immunity to negative effects, bonus drops, and effect spread. These can get really crazy, it seems like, and I imagine that players are going to be discovering these for quite a lot longer. Also, for those who are wondering what's the actual point of making a lot of these, it's either going to be used in a couple recipes. I'm going to be honest though, many of them aren't used in recipes, or it's going to be sending them to the crop analyzer, or it's going to be utilizing their effects in order to buff other crops around that specific mutation. So there's 3 different avenues there, one for the actual buffs themselves, one for the copper, and one to actually use in recipes. Next, we're going to go over some of the recipes that I wasn't able to get to in the last video, as well as how to get stuff like Sunflower. So, there's something new as part of this update. A couple new bestiaries have been found for the garden, and they are the Firefly, the Dragonfly, and the Praying Mantis. I imagine the Firefly gives you sunflowers, the Dragonfly gives you Moonflower, and the Praying Mantis gives you Wild Roses, although I'm not 100% certain. It could be swapped for any of the 3. The thing that's important about this, though, is that you will be able to use any sunflowers you get from these pests in order to plant them and actually make your fields. So you won't need to have a flower minion, for example, in order to get the sunflower for the first time. You will be able to get it most likely through the bestiaries, which is really nice. Also, I want to mention the reason I'm doing this from the wilderness and not the garden itself is because the garden is basically closed to new people trying to get in there. I've tried for well over an hour, and every time I want to warp there, I get a dynamic pool error. I imagine that's because the garden is basically full of slots on the Alpha Network, so that sucks for me. Regardless, though, it won't benefit this video too much because a lot of the rest of this is going to be going over some of the new collection items, which we don't really need to be on the garden to see. Going over Sunflower first, it starts off with Enchanted Sunflower at Sunflower 1. At 2, you get the Sunflower Head, as well as the Sunflower Minion, which, by the way, the minion is very basic. As you can see, it starts off with just some sunflowers. You get it all the way up to level 11 with the Compacted Sunflowers, and then you can get it to level 12 at the Sky Mart. So it's not that crazy. There's also the Sunflower Head. This gives you farming fortune and allows you to spread happiness to someone one sparkle at a time. Very interesting, goofy little item. Just a bunch of enchanted sunflower. We went over the day switch in the previous video. This can be placed in a sunflower minion so it only produces sunflowers. It will produce moonflowers during the nighttime, so this is allowing you to get only sunflowers from it. There's also the compacted sunflower at the 4th tier of the collection. At tier 5, we get sunflower oil, which is really nice, I'm not going to lie. 20,000 fuel to a refuelable machine. And this is just a bunch of enchanted sunflower. Really, really useful for stuff like the Composter. There's Sunstone at tier 6. This allows you to apply the Sunny Reforge to armor, giving you speed and farming wisdom. There's also at tier 7 the Sundial. You can gift this item to Sam to permanently unlock plot speed settings in your garden. So basically, you can go to Sam and you can say on plot 8, I want to go at 187. Boom, that's it. You don't have to worry about that anymore. This is basically going to make Rancher Boots a lot less needed, or at least that's the goal. I'm not 100% certain. I'm not a crazy farmer, but it seems like that's the idea that they're going with, where you'll get these plot speed settings with the Sundial, and then you'll be good to go. In order to get it, you're going to need a bunch of compacted sunflowers, as well as 5 chloronite. This is a mutation that you will have to get through the greenhouse, so good luck to the people finding this one. At tier 8, there is the Sunshine Crystal. This is an upgrade to the Day Crystal with a bunch of compacted sunflower, and this just increases your strength and defense by 10 during the day. Next, we're going to take a look at Moonflower Collection. We start off with Enchanted Moonflower at Collection Tier 1. At Tier 2, we have the Night Switch. This is just the Day Switch, but for Moonflowers. At Tier 3, we get the Crow Pet. We already went over this. This is going to be pretty solid for mage players, it seems like. And you need a lot of Enchanted Moonflower as well as an Enchanted Egg. Moving on to Tier 4, we have the Compacted Moonflower recipe. At Tier 5, we have literally nothing, just Skyblock XP. At Tier 6, we have the Moonstone recipe, which is a reforged stone for equipment. This applies lunar to equipment, giving you speed and farming wisdom. This is going to be pretty nice if you're trying to max out your farming level. Then moving on to number 7, we have the Crop Fever Ultimate Enchant. This one's going to be very interesting. Keep in mind you are going to need a lot of compacted moonflowers in order to make this, and you're going to want it on pretty much all of your tools, so moonflowers are going to be very useful, as well as jukeboxes. Going over to number 8, we have the Moonlight Crystal. This is another upgrade to the Night Crystal. This is compacted moonflower right here, and that increases your strength and defense by plus 10 during the night. Moving on to the Wild Rose collection, we start off with Wild Rose 1, which gives you the Enchanted Wild Rose recipe. This is just a bunch of wild roses. Moving on to the second tier of the collection, we have the Thorny Vines recipe. This can be placed in a flower minion to exclusively produce wild roses. You will need a bunch of enchanted wild roses, a bunch of enchanted cactus, as well as a lever. Moving on to the third tier, we have the Plot Eraser. I already kind of went over this. You can right-click it while on a plot to instantly clean it, saving the trouble of doing it yourself. You do consume the Plot Eraser in the process. This is a bunch of enchanted wild roses, as well as a plumber's sponge. Tier 4 gives you the compacted wild rose recipe, which is just the upgraded enchanted form of it. Moving on to Tier 5, we have the 25,000 farming experience, as well as 4 Skyblock XP. I kind of wonder why the Moonflower Tier 5 doesn't also give farming XP, but whatever, I guess. Tier 6 gives you the Rose Water Flask recipe. This can be consumed to grow crops within the greenhouse by several growth stages. You can keep this item in your inventory to increase the bonus up to 6 stages, at which point the item evolves. Also, this is going to be an upgrade that comes from the Bottle of Gyre. As you can see, it is a bunch of compacted wild roses as well. This is one of those that you're going to put in your time pocket if you are maxed out on that. Going over to the 7th tier, we have the Bachelor's Rose. This can be gifted to any eligible NPC on a public island to invite them to visit your garden. This is a bunch of compacted wild roses, as well as a bunch of poppies. Then moving on to the final tier, we have the Prickly Kiss. This can be brought to Carolyn in Scarleton on the Crimson Isle to permanently gain 5 health and 12 wild rose fortune. You'll need 3,000 of these, and each one is 5 enchanted wild roses. I also wanted to briefly go over the Mutation sack recipes, as they are kind of interesting. The small sack is basically an enchanted leather, as well as 4 dustgrain and 4 veil shrooms. The medium Mutation sack is a small sack, as well as 4 cream blooms, 4 coal roots, as well as 8 choco berries. And to get the large sack, you are going to need a medium sack, as well as 8 cheese bites, 8 blast berries, and 16 flesh traps. All of these are mutations, by the way, so that's a reason to grind out these specific mutations. There are a couple of new rare drops that I wanted to go over from the new pests. A 1% drop from the mantis pests is the Manted Claw. This is a reforged stone that goes on armor and can be applied to give the Manted Reforge. This one gives you bonus pest chance as well as farming fortune. It also gives you the Manted bonus, granting you 0.1 bonus pest chance per pest killed for 10 minutes, capping out at 5 bonus pest chance. There's also the Fire in a Bottle. This is a 1% drop from fireflies. This can be used at Phillip to upgrade the mouse trap into the vermin trap. So that's going to be an upgrade, likely giving you more slots to catch more pests. There are also a couple other new items I wanted to go for. The equivalent of the plant matter and the tasty cheese for the new pests is the jelly. This can be spread across a garden plot with a sprayinator or used in pest traps, attracting praying mantises, dragonflies, and fireflies. There's also iridium. This is another new thing. I imagine this is a rare drop or a rare mutation or something that comes from a mutation or visitor, but it can be used at the Sky Mart to upgrade your Aquamaster 10 into the Aquamaster Hydro Max. So that's the second best watering can into the best watering can. I also wanted to spend a second going over the perks of the Rose Dragon, so here it is. It is 200 health, 40 farming fortune. It has multiple different perks. The first is Awakening, giving you 3 farming fortune per farming level. The second perk is Purity, giving you 5 farming fortune and plus 2 speed for every digit in your lowest crop collection. Serenity increases the chance to drop rare items when breaking crops by 20%, and Spiritual Perfection gains you 10% more copper from garden visitors. I've heard this is somewhat underwhelming. I don't know a ton about farming, but it doesn't seem that much better than the Mushroom Pet. I'm not 100% certain, but I imagine it could be buffed if need be. Wanted to head over to the forums really quick because there is a statement here related to Composter upgrades. They state, "We are aware that a lot of you have requested nerfs to Composter upgrades, and we will look into it. However, we would like everyone to get more familiar with this alpha first, as it already provides a huge boost in copper gains through mutations before making the final decision. So, at the very least, they are aware that people want Composter to be nerfed." I also wanted to briefly showcase what every single chip looks like when maxed out, and they are fairly strong, as you can see, starting from the top left, which, by the way, I wanted to mention, in order to maximize every single one of these, you will need 20 copies of every single chip, as well as a bunch of sawdust, which you get from active farming. Anyway, here are the perks. The Vermin Vaporizer chip gives you 100 bonus pest chance. The Synthesis chip gives you the perk Synthesis, which makes it so that analyzing a mutation in the crop analyzer gives 40% more copper. The Solage chip gives you 30 farming wisdom. The Mechamind chip gives you 50% more farming tool experience. The Hypercharged chip gives you temporary farming fortune buffs 100% stronger, which is very nice to see. There's the Evergreen chip, which makes it so you gain 60% more base crops when harvesting in the greenhouse. The Overdrive chip grants 140 crop fortune for the active crop during Jacob's farming contest. Crop Shot gives you 100 farming fortune. Quick Draw decreases the time for visitors to appear when harvesting crops by 50%. And Rare Finder increases the chance to find rare items when breaking crops by 60%. These are all incredibly strong, and if you want to know how to get all of them, I went over it in my previous video. Wrapping up here, while the Greenhouse Alpha is running into quite a few issues related to getting people to the garden itself, the update as a whole looks really solid with some nice additions and improvements. The rates of pretty much everything are going to be way higher. It's going to be way easier for players to get into the systems, actually participate in them, and level up their garden, which is very nice to see. It might actually make me someone who actually plays the garden. I'm really excited to see this release. I hope we see some additional information about this over the coming weeks, and would love to hear what you guys think down below. Thank you so much for watching this video till the end, and look to the future, fellas. I'll see you then.